Happy Sunday afternoon, listeners. It is the third Sunday of the month. So that means it's book chat time here for Women on Words. So I have my co-host with me, author Elle Loren, and we have writer Michelle Ingrid on the line. And today we are going to be talking, our book review is going to be on Pride by Ibi Zoboi. And I am going to go ahead and read the back cover blurb for everyone. If you're new to the show, know that you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and of course here at Blog Talk Radio. And we, of course, appreciate your fellowship. So, back to Pride by Ibi Zoboi. Here we go. Zuri Benitez has pride, Brooklyn pride, family pride, and pride in her Afro-Latino roots. But pride might not be enough to save her rapidly gentrifying neighborhood from becoming unrecognizable. When the wealthy Darcy family moves in across the street, Zuri wants nothing to do with their two teenage sons, even as her older sister, Janae, starts to fall for the charming Ainsley. She especially can't stand the judgmental and arrogant Darius. Yet, as Zuri and Darius are forced to find common ground, their initial dislike shifts into an unexpected understanding. But for four wild sisters pulling her in different directions, cute boy Warren vying for her attention, and college applications hovering on the horizon, Zuri fights to find her place in changing landscape or lose it all. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
How are you
all? Hello. Good.
I'm so glad to have you on the show. Welcome to September, since this is our first time hooking up for book club. So welcome to September.
Yeah.
So Pride was actually author Elle Loren's choice. So she is going to be leading us through our book club discussion today for this Jane Austen retelling, or remix as Ivy calls it. So I am going to turn it over to author Elle Loren. Take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Michelle. Hi, Sarah. Guys, I enjoyed this book. It is a young adult book. So for anyone that is wanting to read it, make sure you're in that mindset. Because if you're thinking like an adult, you're not going to feel it like it should be felt.
You're going to have to feel
it. Let's see. Pride is all about Zuri and her crazy neighborhood of Bushwick in Brooklyn, New York. I found some parallels in the story to, New York. I've never lived there. I've visited, but I've never known the neighborhoods. And I found parallels when reading the book to the South and where I grew up as well. Because in her neighborhood, everybody knows everybody. Everybody's in everybody's business, just like a small town in the South. So I'm interested what you ladies thought about Zuri's first initial reaction at the beginning of the book to the neighbors moving in across the street. Because she had an adverse reaction to anyone that was moving into that new house. So what do you guys think? Michelle?
Yeah. Okay, I'll go first. I totally understood it. I am from Brooklyn, as you guys know, and I'm from a neighborhood in Brooklyn called Victorian Flatbush, and I remember moving in when we were the only black family in the neighborhood, and there was white flight that came from our coming. And then I remember several, 10 years ago, when the kids from the families who left came back, and we were the outsiders. in a weird way, we became outsiders in our own neighborhood that we stuck to. So I completely understand Zuri's feelings about this, where you come to a neighborhood where you originally were not necessarily welcome and you made yourself a part of the neighborhood, and now the people who may have been there before come back and they've decided that you're unwelcome again. So it's not quite the same thing because now it's Zuri's hood, but I kind of understood how she felt about the idea that the neighborhood is changing. I get it. I get it. I'll say that. I get it.
What about you, Sierra?
So I'm going to refer back to Zuri's own words. So in the opening scene, Zuri says, "It's a truth universally acknowledged that rich people move into the hood where it's a little bit broken and a little bit forgotten. The first thing they want to do is clean it up. But it's not just the junky stuff they'll get rid of. People can be thrown away too, like last night's trash left out on sidewalks and pushed to the edge or wherever all broken things go." So the thing that I love about Zuri's voice when we first meet her, we meet her in a way that I love, which is in the context of family. You meet Zuri and her family, and there's 5 girls. And in some ways, I love that she acknowledges that this is her hood that she loves, but she acknowledges that it is broken. Because there are a lot of things in Zuri's life that are broken, and we take that journey with her as she's discovering those broken things in herself, in her family, and in the kids across the street, the new family that moves in, the Darcys. I love her initial reaction to new people moving into the neighborhood, and they're not just moving into the neighborhood, but they're moving into that house. And it's the house that, and we've probably all seen it, like the house that's like an eyesore on the block. And then someone comes along and they redo the house, and it's everybody's house on the whole street. And that's the case when the Darcys move into the neighborhood, and the house is so big that how could just a few people live there? We're getting some feedback from someone. So I think that was the thing that stuck out with me, that I love that Zuri, even in her juvenile outlook, realizes that where she lives, like, things could be better, even though she loves it. And she recognizes immediately that somehow this family that's moving in is not, they may have their issues, but they're not broken in the same way that everybody else may be broken in her hood that she knows. And it's something that makes her uncomfortable, and I think it's a very relatable issue to have as a young person. When somebody moves in and their life is so different from everybody else's, that there is a certain level of comfort. I think we still struggle with that as adults as well. So I actually love my introduction to the Benitez family, to the hood of Bushwick, and to the Darcys, who also, they behaved almost like the fish out of Wanda. Oh, goodness, the fish out of water kind of story. Like, we're not so sure about this move. But we learn their backstory, too, as the story continues. So it was good for me.
Good. Now, with me, I was kind of like, okay, Zuri is going to, okay, she's the star of the book. We know that. But she was totally different than all of her sisters combined. I mean, the other 4 were in love with the Darcy brothers. They couldn't do any wrong. They were welcoming. They loved them, wanted them to come to the neighborhood, just all about the new rich boys and how fine they were. And Zuri was like, nope, I don't want nothing to do with them. I love that about her because she was so strong-willed, and she knew who she, well, in her opinion, in her head, she knew who she was and what she wanted and what she didn't like. And I think she was the only one that was thinking in the uncertain terms of, this neighborhood is changing and I don't like it. Everybody else was just going with the flow.
Mhm.
She was the only one that was pushing back, and I like that about her.
Yeah.
So, when we meet the Darcy brothers, the two couldn't be more different. What do you guys think between Ansley and Darius? Why do you think that she was more drawn to Darius?
Well, for me, I felt like Zuri and Darius were mirrors of one another. He was just as skeptical. Oh, y'all, I haven't been drinking, I promise you. But look here, he was still just as worried as she was. I'm just break it down, okay? This may not be the right place for us either. So I appreciated that, they were real. Kids move into new neighborhoods, and you're not sure how you're going to be received. And in some ways, he gave back what he was getting as well. When you first meet Zuri, she's a pretty judgmental kid. I'm just put that out there for you right now. She has really strong opinions for a 17-year-old. And I think what's also interesting about this character is she's very vocal with it. Like, she would be like what you would consider a smart mouth kid. Now, I grew up in the South, so she'd probably be popped in the back of the head at my house. But this is a book, and so this is the way Mrs. Zoboi brought it to us. But I can tell you, like, a lot of her opinions are very, very bold opinions. And she's not shy about voicing it. And I think Darius, when you meet him, he's a young man that maybe the other women in his life, maybe they don't approach him the same way that she did. And so I think at first he's processing, like, how do I, like, okay, what do I do with this girl? Like, there's something about her that he finds very attractive. And obviously he and his brother are very handsome. I must tell you, the author's descriptions in this book are very, very vivid. And he's very, very handsome, kind of has a universal appeal. We see later in the book, regardless of, which group of people he's in, he's found handsome. But, they pushed that away to deal with the deeper issue, which is, you're not like me, okay? You're not like me. You're different. And because of that, you're an easy target. And you see some of that play out. I think we see that play out, with children a lot. And sometimes in adult settings, that kind of mean girl response.
What do you think, Michelle, about the guy?
So I like Darius. And I like Darius for several reasons, and one of the main reasons that I like Darius is that he knows he's kind of the odd guy out in this neighborhood, but he never actually says that that's an issue for him. He kind of understands. We use the term code switching, and Darius is like the perfect example of that whole idea of code switching, where you are a different version of yourself depending on the group that you're in. I think that I think most people of color actually understand that you're like one version of yourself in the workplace. And it's not that any of these versions of yourself are inauthentic. They're simply the versions of yourself that make sense in the setting. It's kind of like when you go to a party, you're a lot more fun than you would be in your workplace life, because that's the life where you are fun. And then you have that version of yourself that you're in the neighborhood where you're another version for yourself for your parents, especially at this age. I really like Darius because he lets you see the full stream of who he has to be. And I use that term very carefully, who he has to be. And also this book, oh my gosh. So this book addresses several issues, and I hope I'm not giving anything away